about to see my very first Godot tutorial. Yeah, and you know why that is? Because I knew nothing about Godot until about 2 days ago. Okay, didn't know how to use it or anything. I just knew what Godot was. But I heard so many good things about it. I really wanted to try it. Um, and you know what? I love it so far. It's great. Do you want to know what I love the most about it so far? And it's only been a couple of days, but what I love the most about it so far is how lightweight it is. I couldn't believe it. All right. Godot itself, the engine, takes about 103 megabytes of space on my drive, which is nothing. All right. And the folders that your projects are in, this one, for example, I think is 17 megabytes for a project folder. That's crazy. And I love it. All right. Like in Unity, what I'm used to, Unity is taking 40 or 50 gigabytes of space on my drive. All right. And then when I create a new Unity project, that project folder is from the start about 1.5 gigabytes. Okay. And that's before you put any crap in it. Now, that's just nuts to me. And I don't have a lot of space on my computer. So, I'm constantly if I make a tutorial or something, I have to, move files to my external drive and then back to my hard drive because it's not good to use files from my external because they're kind of choppy. But so I got to transfer them back to my PC drive. But this is great. I love how lightweight this engine is, and the project files are incredible. And yeah, so this is my very first tutorial, and it's my second time making this video because the first time I was showing about the audio looping in it, and I was just playing it way too loud. I couldn't see it or hear how loud it was in the video while I was doing it. It didn't seem that loud to me at the time, so I'll have to watch out this time. But it was way too loud in the video, and you couldn't even hear me talk. And I was playing a lot, so yeah, here's my second time making my first Godot tutorial. So let's get into what this is going to cover. Okay, this is going to cover uh, the basic knowledge of Godot and how to use nodes. This is going to cover looping audio in the background. This is going to cover uh, removing objects from the scene, like in Unity, destroying an object, kind of. And it's going to cover changing the color of text on the screen. Okay, so that's what we're going to cover in this one. And, let's get right into it. Let's start with, you know, the what Godot uses for all these things, and it's nodes. No, Godot is node based. And I say Godot, but it could be Godot. A lot of controversy about the pronunciation of the name, I'm finding out. But I like Godot. So Godot is uh, node based. Everything you see in the scene, everything that's in here, it's all a node. Okay. And nodes can go inside of nodes, and it's kind of cool actually. I kind of like the way it's set up. But yeah, all these are nodes, and each node does something different. All right. So for example, this node is a Sprite 2D node that you can see, right there. And all it is an image for the background. All right. I'm right. My first project here is a hidden object game. Okay, and I needed a background. So that was the first node I put in with Sprite 2D. Now let me show you how to do that. Okay. If we click the parent node, these are all children of the parent node. Okay. Oh, and it's also going to discuss one node talking to another. All right. So I'll show you this in a second. 'Cause I want to discuss this for a second. All right. Like I said, I've only been using Godot for a couple days, but I needed to know how to, have this node talk to this node. the hell out of here. And unfortunately, when I was looking up tutorials, all right, what everybody was doing about talking, nodes talking to each other, and this kind of pissed me off a little bit, actually. Okay. It shouldn't, but it did. I have an anger issue. But everybody that I saw was attaching a script to the main parent node. Okay. And then they were showing how to use code from that script to talk to like this node. That pissed me off. All right. Because that's actually really easy to do. All right. It's a matter of you're the parent, these are children. Anything inside this would be a grandchild to that. That's easy to do, actually. But everyone was doing it. I could not find a tutorial about nodes talking to nodes that wasn't someone saying, oh, well, you go from the main one here and you could talk to this one. Not what I wanted, not what I needed to do. And that's what everybody was doing. But I finally figured it out. All right. And so we're going to discuss that, how nodes talk to each other. Like, for instance, this node to this node. All right. They're not in the same item holder and they're not, I mean, yeah. So nodes talking to nodes. We're going to do that too. All right. So what did I want? The attic. Okay. I'm going to show you how I put this node in. We're going to go to the main parent node, click the plus button, and here we can choose a node to put in. Now I could put in a Sprite 2D node like that is. I could put in uh, Sprite 2D and get that. But why don't we put in one of these? Okay. This is a basic node, and as you can see in the inspector, there's really nothing to it. And I'm using it here and here as kind of a holder, a placeholder for these nodes. So it's kind of like an empty game object for me in Unity. All right. And the great thing about putting this in when I wanted a 2D sprite is you can just change it. So that's why I'm showing you how to do this. If you put in the wrong node, just right click and change type. And then you'll get this option where you can put sprite and just pick it. Okay. So again, now we have, just like this, a sprite 2D node. Let's make this one invisible. And over here, under texture in the inspector, it says empty. We can just drag in the image like I did. Just drag it over here. And there it is. Usually all these things you drag in start up at the upper left, the center. Okay. And then you just bring it down here by clicking and dragging on it. Click this and drag it out. And boom, that's what I did to get that node in there. But I don't need this, so let's get rid of it. Just wanted to show you how to do it. Bring you back. And then this is simply an image that I placed on there to go under all my text, so the text doesn't just, get lost in translation on the floor or anything. All right. And I did it the same way. I just dragged over my image and put it in there. All right. Now, next, let's talk about the audio stream player. Okay. This is an instance where I actually created a new scene, and it was probably other node I did, and then all I did was put in, well, let's just do it right now. Other node and audio stream player 2D. Okay. Boom. So, just like this, I saved it, gave it a name, which we can do right now, actually, to show you. Okay, so scene, save scene. It's going to ask you for where you want it and a name. And let's just call this test. And then say save. Okay. And now that saved it here as test.tscn, which is the file name for, a scene, kind of a packed scene, as you can see right there. All right. Which I'm keeping in my nodes. But Again, I don't want this. I've already created one. I'm just showing you how to do it. So goodbye. Now, let's see, get rid of this. All right, so now the audio stream player. Um, it's pretty basic. If you go over in the inspector, it's got a spot to drag your audio into, like I did and just showed you. But down here, you've got options to say, I want to make sure the volume's down a little bit. 'Cause damn, that was loud before. You can play on. You can hear it when you're not in game mode. But I'm gonna get that out of there. I gotta be careful with that. All right, and then autoplay, which is like, starts when the game starts. But there's nothing about looping, and that really confused me. So I'll show you how to do that real quick. All right, you highlight the audio player and you go to import. All right, now you keep this highlighted down here, the track, and for you, it's probably if you can't get it to loop, this is probably off. Okay, so you want to click it on, and then click import or re-import, and then it will loop for you. So that's the audio looping in the background. Okay, and then like I said, down here in the text holder, which is all these little texts, we have what they call labels. And a label is just, there's a couple different kinds of labels. There's like a more advanced label that's kind of like a TMP Pro text object. And this is the more basic label, which is kind of like the old Unity text stuff. Okay, and I just put my text in here, journal, that's that one there. And this percentage symbol you see here is something I discovered when I was trying to figure out how to get nodes to talk to each other. Okay. This percentage symbol is kind of just like in Unity a tag. All right. It's a special name. It creates a special name for this game object so that this node, so that other nodes can make contact with it. Okay. And if you right click on this object, you can go down to, for me, it's revoke unique name because I already have one. But if you don't, it would be, create a unique name, I think it says, or add a unique name or something. But you would go down here. It's like the third one, revoke, add unique name. And that would give you these percentages right here next to it. All right. And that's important for when we want to talk to each other. So those are the texts that you see down there. And you simply drag them around like anything else, put them where you want them, or adjust it in the inspector. Okay, under layout and transform, you can change the size, the position, and all that, the rotation. All right, and that's the texts. Then down here in the items folder, I have another sound node, and this does not autoplay on awake, and it doesn't loop. And it's simply for when you click on a hidden object that you find, it plays a sound that you click, got it, And we'll be seeing how to contact that node from another node too. So it's got that. Then it's got what we call here a texture button, okay? Which is a little different from a normal button in here, but it's perfect for what I want because it's kind of basic and it also lets you um, have options like if you go to the node options here, it's got a bunch of pre-made options for you like button down, button up, pressed, and I think I'm using pressed. But yeah, it's got a ton of cool options for you to use in the node tab of the inspector. And yeah, so you can because it's kind of like a button. I mean, it is a button. It's a texture button. You can have uh, images for like the right here. So this is normal, And then you can put images for pressed, hover, disabled, focused, click. But I don't need that. I just need it like an object and not a button. And I just wanted to interact with the mouse. So that's why I made all the objects texture button nodes. Okay. And then I just dragged their images in there. All right. So that's that. Now, since we covered all the nodes and how nodes work, we're going to get more into script. And I'm using the GD, the built-in GD script, which I'm told is like Python. I've never used Python. I've used like Macromedia Action Script, which is kind of like uh, what is it called? Java. I think it's kind of like JavaScript. And then I've used C Sharp and a couple other engine. Like there's a Game Studio language I've used for 3D Game Studio way back when. But I've never used um, Python. So I'm told GD script is kind of like Python. And if you want to add a script, you would just click the add script button up here to a node. I did that and it created this script here. Now I got rid of the start and update function, which is not what they're called in Godot, but I got rid of those. And then I went into the node properties for this node and I used pressed. Okay. So that's once you press that, it's going to give you that on pressed function, which they call func. All right. That funk that brings me back to the 70s, man. The funk, except it's with a K for me. The funk. So the funk, which is short for function, obviously, is on pressed, and it's when the left mouse is clicked. All right. As you can see, there's what 4 lines of code, and each one of these is all the same except for the name of the object I want to contact. You know, the ring wants to talk to the ring text node. The journal wants to talk to the JText code. Okay, that's the only thing that's different from all these. So the first line, okay, is playing this sound. All right, and that's just the sound it plays when you click on an object. Now, the way I did this, it's actually very simple, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to get rid of this. All right, this is the sound. Just drag it over here. Boom. And actually, that won't work. I need to get rid of that. And that's another thing I found a little daunting too is sometimes your function has to be like connected. So if I press enter here, now you got to have this in front of your line of code to be connected to this function. All right. So now I'm going to drag this in here. All right. And it's kind of an address to that node, that sound. And then I'm going to press dot and play. And that's it. Okay. And they all have this. Okay. And they're all accessing the same audio stream player 2D. All right. So that's that line of code. All right. And that's what it does. And this dollar symbol here, if it looks weird to you, it's really just a shorthand version to write get node in Godot GD script. All right. So you could use like get node too, but they shortened it because I dragged it over and they put in the shortest path. So that's great. And then this line creates a variable called node, and it's equal to the percent that we saw up here, which is the unique name. So it's equal to the unique name JText, which is this. Okay. And that's how nodes talk to each other with that unique name. Nodes that have nothing to do with each other, like all these people putting a code up here and accessing stuff and saying that's how you do it. And they're so proud of themselves. Oh my God, it pissed me off. But from node to node, that's how you do it. You use a unique name, and then you just access it like it's a tag. Okay, so that's what this line does. It creates that variable node and assigns it to this object with its unique name. Then this line takes that node variable and says dot modulate, okay, which is how uh, the color is set on images or texts in Godot, is the modulate. All right, and I can show you that real quick if we want to see the text. Let's go to the inspector. Let's go down. Here's the color right here. Okay, and you see it says modulate. All right. So node.modulate starts off white. I change it equal to color dot black. Okay, and then because this code is attacked. I'm so stupid. Attached to this game object. Okay, the journal. See it right here. Because that code is attached to that object, the next line I use is called qui free. All right. And essentially it's sort of like Unity's destroy game object function. All right. Except, they call it qui free. And what it does is it kind of destroys the game object and then frees up the memory. So it reallocates the memory for the game. Okay. And that's it. And all these have the same thing except the names for the unique name so they can access who they are. So let's save all scenes. So let's try playing it here real quick. And I want to make sure that's down. Because I won't get, copyright infringed like I do with Ninja Pop because this is from the YouTube library, audio library. But like I said, it was just way too loud. I'm just going to even turn it down a little bit more. All right, so now we're playing it to see how it works, okay? So we're in the game. It's in windowed mode. I've got my mouse. We've got our label texts down here and they're in front of this image right here. And then I've got a few items placed in the scene that you need to find, okay? For instance, the journal is first. Here it is. I'm going to click on it. Plays a little sound like I showed you. And then it turns the journal text black, okay? And it's going to do that for all of them. So the old key, that's over here. Boom, there it is. Turns the text to black. Here's the cage. Boom, turns the text to black. And here's the ring. Boom, turns the text to black. So that's how that works. And it works really well. I'm really impressed with how that works. So, I think that's basically it. Okay. We've covered what nodes are, how the Godot engine is using these nodes, basically, a very basic. Um, but they're not hard to figure out. The learning curve on this engine is not bad at all, in my opinion. But I'm used to other engines, so. So yeah, that's basically it. I mean, up here is you can switch because right now we're in script mode. You can switch to back to 2D to see the scene you're in. You can switch to 3D, which we're doing nothing in. Um, an asset library, I haven't tried that one yet. Over here are your playback functions, so like play, pause, and all that. This plays the current scene. This plays the scene that's been decided to play to be the first, and that's it. So uh, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. Hope you learned a little bit about Godot from it. And I'm real excited about Godot. And you'll probably be seeing a lot more Godot tutorials. And if you noticed in the last couple days, I put up a couple quick Blender tip ones. Okay. And that was just because I wanted to keep up with uploading videos and more content and tutorials, but it couldn't be anything major because I was learning how to use Godot here. So from this point on, I might start putting more Godot and, some Blender, and there's definitely going to be more Unity because, it's all things game dev really. But yeah, I'm excited to bring you more Godot stuff. Godot is really up and coming. Um, Bracky's channel came back with Godot, and that's one of the things because I love Bracky's. Bracky's channel is great. Learned a lot from Bracky's when I was using Unity in the beginning, and he came back from a long sleep with a Godot tutorial and then another one, and I had to try it, and I love it, and we're gonna keep it going. So now the channel is gonna have some Unity, Godot, Blender, miscellaneous. This channel's getting better, man. So I highly suggest if you like it, like the hit the like button and subscribe because I don't have any very many subscribers, and I've gotten a good amount of views. So it's completely free and it supports this channel and me, more than you know, or maybe you do know. So like, subscribe, share, comment. Until next time, peace out.